Hi, here's the first proper part of the Metropolis DVD review series, and this is a bit of a two for this one because these are, for the most part, the same DVD, and it's these two of the 2001 restoration. Now, you suppose you're wondering why I end up buying two versions of this. Well, and some people probably say, "Oh, look, they've got slightly different sleeves," but it's not just that. Basically, this was my first version, and I ended up rebuying this because there was a scratch on. Basically, I ended up getting the first disc scratched about. It's a bit of a scuff here. You probably can't see it, but it's enough so that it skips during the first couple of minutes, which is basically sort of an introduction about how the film was cut after its original German premiere, and how this was, like, at the time, the best, longest version, which was still had about a quarter of the film missing. But it's not necessary to know. Well, it is if you're coming in, but it's slightly annoying for me. So I ended up buying another version, which was this, which did cost me quite a bit at the time. It cost me about £25, I think, in HMV, because they're ridiculously expensive. But and I was gonna just get rid of this, or maybe keep hold of the extras disc as a spare, just in case. But then when I watched it, I realised that there was a difference. This one has the intertitles translated into English. This one has the original German intertitles. So, for me being the film buff who has to have as many variants as possible, it made it an essential pick. I mean, the fact is, I probably will end up buying an unscratched version of this at some point because I'm a sad get, Anyway, talking about the discs. Now, they mostly have the same features. There's a slightly difference. I mean, this version is technically the superior because, like I say, German intertitles. But as well as the intertitles, it has optional English, French, German, Spanish, and Italian subtitles. So that's most of Europe sorted there. Of course, it has the original 1927 score. I don't know why they're listing that in the special features because that's part of the main feature. So but it's has the Metropolis case, which is a 44-minute documentary. That's on both versions, and it's a fascinating documentary about not only Metropolis but also German expressionist cinema. So, if you're just getting into silent films, it's a good jumping on point. It's really good. A 9-minute documentary about the restoration, so you can see just how much work went into it. And the fact that this film looks gorgeous. I mean, it's really, really nice picture quality on this. And that's an incredible thing for a film which was filmed in 1926. So this film is it's in its 80s. This is a really old film, but it looks good. It looks amazing. I mean, and well, let's face it, this is a film that influenced things like Blade Runner, Star Wars. I mean, I doubt there is a modern science fiction film which doesn't owe some small debt to Metropolis in some way. This is the granddaddy. But it's also got production stills, posters, costume designs, stills of missing scenes, and architectural sketches. And extensive restoration notes. And the thing that makes this one special, as well as the German intertitles, is a rather nice booklet. I believe it's 28 pages, with lots of articles about the film, which most of these were from like the time of release, which was 1927. And it's very text heavy. I mean, there's an example page, so there's a lot there to read. It's fascinating. I mean, the only thing that lets this down is that this is part of the Masters of Cinema series. So it's you kind of think it's less special in a way because it's part of a series rather than its own thing. which this one is. You know, this was literally like, yeah, here's Metropolis, bam. And but yeah, I mean, and yeah, it's a good version of the film. It's got this has got a running time of 118 minutes, which at the time was the longest version. Things will change. You'll find out later. And yeah, I mean, either of these would be good to get. I mean, there's better stuff out there now, but I would personally get this just for the Metropolis case documentary. Because even though there's stuff about the restoration, how they sort of put scenes back together and that for this edition is out of date, the rest of it's really good. So yeah, if you can pick up a copy cheap, you know, I'd say go for it. You know, especially if you are a fan of the film, you know, which I am. I mean, I would never get rid of these because there's a lot in there. I mean, even though, like I say, the main feature is slightly redundant, it kind of plays into the history of this thing, and it's a history that deserves to be respected, because this film went through the ringer, you know. But I'll get onto that in the next video, and I hope to see you then.